Hello and welcome. My name is Sandy Hood, and this short video is intended to introduce you to a new topic within the operational case study syllabus. We're looking at core area E, analyze information to support short-term decision making, and the I can statement is I can apply appropriate techniques that support short-term decisions. And you would need to be able to demonstrate understanding of the big picture that the organisation finds itself in when considering factors affecting short-term operational decisions and make appropriate connections. We're looking at weighted benefit scoring, and we need to be able to apply weighted benefit scoring to a short-term decision. Okay, it's used to prioritize tasks, projects, initiatives. We assign a numeric value based on cost-benefit analysis, and it helps objectively assess the relative importance and impact of a decision. A decision may need to be made between three projects. Score the projects numerically based on cost-benefit analysis, prioritizing the criteria with the greatest importance to the business. Okay, so now we're seeing what we mean by weighted benefit, because there's going to be a greater weighting to that more important criteria or criterion. Okay, so you'll need to understand the concept of the technique, the concept of cost-benefit analysis, the mechanics of this weighted benefit scoring, the potential benefits and limitations in order to make short-term decisions. Okay, you need to understand this and be able to apply this. So in the context of SOPAR, which is the current operational case study company, you might be asked to explain how weighted benefit scoring would be applied to assist with a decision. So let's look at this scenario in question. Jack Griggs, head of finance, calls you and says the senior management team has decided to add guacamole dip to the range of products to be sold to the public. There are two options being considered: to produce in-house or to outsource. A potential supplier has already been identified, which has provided a quote for a 12-month supply contract. If we produce in-house, we will rent the equipment required. Okay, so that would be background within a full section. And then I've given you subtask C, discuss how weighted benefit scoring would be applied to assist with this decision, giving examples of criteria that could be used. 24%. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to stop the recording and give yourself 3 minutes to plan an answer, and then 9 minutes to write it up. Okay. Have you stopped and done the question? It should take you about 12 minutes. You will benefit a lot more if you have a go and then you come back and you watch my answer. It becomes passive if you simply listen to what I've done. It becomes active if you attempt the question, because then you're actually using what we've already talked about in terms of weighted benefit scoring, and that recall and that application will stay in your memory longer so that you're able to use it in your exam. Okay. I'm going to continue now because I'm assuming that you've had your attempt. Okay. So we're going to discuss how weighted benefit scoring would be applied to assist with this decision, giving examples of criteria that could be used. Okay, every section's worth 45 minutes, and I recommend that you spend 9 minutes at the beginning of each section planning the whole of the section. So you're producing a plan for all the subtasks. That would leave 36 minutes to write up the answers. Here we've got 24% of 36 minutes, meaning that we've got 8.64 minutes available to write up this answer. Now, I tend to need 2 minutes to write a paragraph. So with 8.6 minutes, I would reasonably expect that I could write 4 paragraphs. Here's my plan, written within my 9 minutes. A definition, a criteria, weighting and scores, calculation and selection. So it looks manageable. I can spend 2 minutes on each of those, and that would give me 8 minutes. Will it work out? Let's just see. My definition. Weighted benefit scoring incorporates all the factors affecting a decision. These can be financial, non-financial, and sustainability related. Criteria are established that are used to evaluate each decision option. Okay. The criteria, there are 2 decision options here. Should we produce guacamole dips in-house or outsource production? Decision criteria could include cost, quality of the dips, availability to respond to demand fluctuations, impact on the environment. Weighting the scores. Each criterion is given a percentage weighting. These add up to 100% for all criteria. Quality of the dips could be the most important. We might allocate 40% weighting and lower percentages to the others. Scores allocated to each decision using a common range. For example, a score could be between 1 and 100. The calculation criterion is to score. The score allocated to each criterion can be expected to require some judgment. For control over production, we might expect a high score for in-house compared with outsourcing. Once the scores have been multiplied together, the weightings are then totaled. With their weightings, they are then totaled, and the highest weighted benefit should then be chosen. End of answer. This topic has entered the syllabus for the first time. It says 2027, but it really should say 2026. I'm expecting to see it tested in several variants this year. Let's look at the answer to see how it earns the marks. We try to make sure that we are making a point. We're putting that point into the context of the question, in this case, weighted benefit scoring. We're trying to put the point into the context of the company, SOPAR, and we're trying to justify why that point raised addresses the requirements of the question. A suitable marking scheme here, and if I look at level 3, would demonstrate good understanding of how to apply weighted benefit scoring, and the discussion is mostly clear, detailed, and referenced to the scenario. So we'll look at this. We started with a definition. It was a generic introduction. It lacks application to SOPAR, and it's descriptive rather than explanatory. But it's useful because it sets the scene in the answer. And very often, when you're looking at what I might call P1 and F1 topic areas, starting off with this rather generic first couple of sentences is the way to go. You then pick up those other aspects which are so important, the application to the case study company, the application to the particular task, and the justification which gives you the depth of answer. But initially, you bring your reader in with a clear definition so they know what you're writing about. In terms of the criteria, we've given clear application at this point with reference to the dips, with relevant criteria, and this is applicable into this scenario. As far as the weighting and scores, the weighting is explained rather than described. And this is an important distinction between those two words. Each criterion is given a percentage weighting. These add to 100%. Quality of the dips could be the most important. We might allocate 40% weighting. It isn't a description, it's an explanation. And the lower percentages going to the other scores. And then we're going to use a common range for the score allocation. Again, when we're doing the calculation, my longest paragraph here, clear application, recognizing control over production as relevant to dip production. And for an explanation of the weighted benefit score calculation and the recognition of which decision should be chosen. So what we've done has been to introduce decision making using weighted benefit scoring. And we've applied weighted benefit scoring to a question that might be posed in an operational case study exam. And I need to say thank you to you. I run courses. I run face-to-face courses in a meeting room within a hotel on the outskirts of Arundel, which is in West Sussex in the south of England. I'm also available through Facebook and LinkedIn, and I've given you those links. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the very, very best in your exam.